Sparky, Coach, Pod, Crowie back in our 50 cent or 50 cent into club business lessons part 3. Hope you're getting something out of this. I'm sure getting something out of this. I had no idea that there was so much gold in 50 cents into club. I mean, I knew it was a great song, but business lessons, come on. 50 Cent, if you're listening, hi. Hope you're well. What are you doing these days? I miss you. In the Club, great song. Anyway, I'm going to continue on with part 2. We talked about if you watch how I move, you mistake me for a player or a pimp, right? So we're talking about that having intention in the office, having goals in the office, having rhyme and reason to your office schedule, right? Really interesting, because one of the major ceilings people hit is the inability to get the office work done. Now, the inability to get the office work done usually results in a lack of workload. There's a lot of ramifications. There's a time ramification on the business owner. There's also and then, you've got to think, like, you've probably at this stage got a tradie or an apprentice, or you want a tradie, or you maybe have a couple. And you've got no dramas releasing the on-site work, which is what you're actually good at. But when it comes to the office, no one does it like me. No one does it like me, right? No one does it like me. When in fact, you're uneducated, untrained, and unproductive in the office, because we've never been trained in the admin, more than likely. Not saying everyone, but a lot of us are really good on site, but the office stuff, we're just like, where's Microsoft Word? Just like one finger typing, and I'm working off like a 6-inch laptop where I can't even really read it. And I've got this price book that was last updated in 2001, but hey, it's still reigning supreme and we're still winning jobs off it. Conversion rate's a really interesting thing to talk about, because it's like, if you're converting 10 out of 10 jobs, you're either too cheap or you've got the best reputation in town. And it's like, I really don't agree with anyone necessarily looking that deep into conversion in the trade sense, because if you might, like, you got to look at other factors, not just what you're converting, but what are the reasons why we do and don't convert. Are we just reaching out cold and then they're just going off a price? Are we just going off Facebook groups and posting and they're not converting? It's like, well, that person was only ever going to want that job for $64. They were never going to pay the rates that most people should be charging. And that's, I guess, why we exist as Sparky Coach, to sort of educate the people on, like, what a successful business looks like, and not say normal, but what you need to charge, and what you need to charge has very clear boundaries, and you can roll your 8-hour rates probably between 90 and 120, depending on where you sit on the service and maintenance work, or overhead wise, or what kind of car you're driving. There's a bunch of factors in that: how long you've been operating for, who your clients are, what your clients expect. Like, there's how long you had your team for. There's so many variables into that rate. Anyone who preaches one rate probably doesn't quite understand how the balance of those numbers can spread across hours, or can spread across apprentices, or can spread like into different clients more than others or less than others, and bits and pieces. So I'd really encourage you to reach out to us and do a 2-pack. 2-pack is basically your cost operations session with our in-house Lord Accountant Extraordinaire Angela, and a Beastinator session with myself or Cam. The Beastinator is amazing. It basically it predicts your hourly rate where you sit, but then it shows you how you can sort of manufacture it. Like I said before, if you've just done a cost operations calculator and it spat you out a figure, I'm not saying that figure's wrong, but that figure can be manufactured or manipulated within reason, probably 10 to 20% either way. So to timestamp, you might be needing to charge $140 an hour at one point, according to the calculator, and then flick yourself forward 2 months with an admin team and a bunch of more staff, that might go down to 105, 110. So it's like, if you don't understand how you got to that number and how to twist and turn and manipulate and manufacture that number, then you'll be forever, you might be charging too much or too little without realizing it, because you time-stamped yourself on where the calculator said you were at that point in time. Not saying that point in time wasn't real, but to see it just through that lens is not a clear reflection of where your business sits, right? So I'm going to give you some advice my old boss gave me about admin. And I remember I was like, oh, I'm so busy. Like, I don't know if you ever felt like that in the office. And I remember just like, what on earth? Like, can I get on top? I'm having 90 coffees a day and I still can't do anything. I'm just feeling lethargic, unproductive. I'm feeling lazy. I'm feeling guilty, but I'm also feeling stuck. I'm procrastinating, but then I'm hitting something hard and I'm focusing on what I shouldn't be focusing on. And I'm doing this job when in fact that could have happened in 2 weeks, but I've got to get this quote out. I've got to get this thing sent over, but I'm putting that off. And I remember speaking to him and I was like, I can't get on top. And he was like, tell me about your day. Tell me about your general days. And I was like, oh, most days I go out to site and I start everyone or catch up with everyone and go through this. And he's like, oh, whoa, hold up, right? Dr. Dre style, hold up. And I remember like, what do you mean? And he's like, look, you can't leave every day. At this stage, you probably had 6 staff, 7 staff, 8 staff, something like that. And he was like, you can't leave every day. Like, I know you feel like you need to, but you can't do that. You've got to basically be like, because you're losing momentum. What I was finding is I'd go out in the morning and you'd start a job, look at a job, come across and come back. I'd have a coffee on the way home, get in the office, it's 11, 12 o'clock. Then I'm like, have some lunch. And then you're like, oh, I've got to start preparing for tomorrow. The schedule, organise what's happened here, what's happened there. Oh, it's 3:30, sweet, I'm out. Oh, it's 5 o'clock, sweet, I'm out. Oh, it's 6 o'clock, sweet, I'm out. And nothing's ever being... You're maintaining, but nothing's getting done. So it's like, and he was like, look, what you need to do is set your times and tasks and only leave 2 days a week. And I know that might not be applicable to everyone. Your leaving might be 1 day a week, but like, or you're not leaving might be 1 day a week. But you've got to have some boundaries. And I'll never forget the first couple of meetings when someone's like, oh, hey, can you come here on a Tuesday? And I'm like, no, no, I don't. And this is interesting with the office stuff, right? Because it's like what you do originally, I think so. You should have 1 day in the office. And then when you go to two days, go to Tuesday and Thursday. So your site days might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you're only ever a day away from site and you're only ever a day away from office, right? And then after that, you flip it. You go Monday, Wednesday, Friday office and Tuesday, Thursday, the site visits. And as you're growing your team, you're working out using math and you're using like... using the operations calculators to work out what, if you give up those 8 hours, what you need to do to still be making or still be achieving the same revenue, income, that kind of stuff. Like you giving up time usually means that you've got to employ someone to sort of catch that money back up. The reason people go so bad sometimes is because they try and get off the tools, which sounds so glamorous, but if you haven't used math and you haven't used wisdom to get yourself off the tools, you just like might as well fry yourself in a fry pan or just burn some money, because it's like there's a rhyme and a reason and a season to get off the tools, and you need to know this stuff. Like it's not good enough to take a punt on something. It's kind of like a plumber turning up to a switchboard upgrade. It's like he might have a bit of knowledge or she might have a bit of knowledge, but it's not good enough. Like near enough's not good enough here, and we need to educate ourselves here. So I remember him giving me that tip, being like, hey, don't leave on certain days. I'm like, that's actually amazing. I started to put it into place. Now, to preface this, no one's schedule is absolutely perfect. There's going to be times that roughing or that job starts on that day, or that person, that major client wants to meet you at that certain point. My encouragement is to be flexible. Nothing in the trade world should be absolutely fixed, time-stamped forever. We will never do that. We wouldn't, unless it's like, we're never going to break the Bible, the wiring rules. Yes, don't break that. But like everything else should be a little bit flexible, right, in a way. But you don't want to be too flexible and too accommodating that you're just bending over for everyone, but you also don't want to be too rigid that you're actually too difficult to work with. It's a very fine line. But my encouragement is, if that job, if you had Thursday in the office and then someone's like, oh, can we get that site meeting out on Thursday? Cool. Then where are you going to move the office stuff to? Because the time's not going to go anywhere. It just needs to move to another point. So is that point Friday? Is it Thursday night? Is it Tuesday night? Where is it? Because if it's not there, you're going to fry your next week. And so much of our lack of office productivity continually fries our next week. It's like kicking the can down the road, but next week I've got 3 cans to kick. The week after I've got 10 cans to kick. The compound effect of not doing your office work eventually lands yourself in a position where I'm like, gah. And that's when you're like, if I'm not measuring jobs, I don't know where anything's sitting. If I don't know where anything's sitting, how can I know whether to do it again or not? If I've just fixed it on like, hey, we're $90 for this point, $120 for that point, $200 for that point. If I don't know what's profitable or what's not, or if I'm not passing down job notes properly, or if the office isn't communicating to the site, or if the site's got no idea what a variation is or not, you can lose money really, really, really quickly and not even realize it to the end of the year. Go to the accountant and be like, what happened? How'd I go? He's like, not good. And you're like, oh, I thought it went heaps good. Oh, no. Bam. And then that like, no. I want to encourage you. We said this in the first one, part 1 of 50 Cents into Club, that a good or excellent year, it needs a good or excellent day today, or a good or excellent day tomorrow, and a good and excellent day the next day. That's what you sort of need. So get some boundaries in the office, right? Get some boundaries in the office. Know when to pass something over. You don't know how to do. You're not the best fit for everything. That's probably one of the most important things. Like, you hit a ceiling of time, and then you go like, is my time actually? Am I using it well? Am I being respectful of my time? Am I doing something in here that someone else could do for $30, $35, $40 an hour? And a lot of times the answer is yes. Yes, there's some educated things that someone else could do. Maybe it's that high level quoting. That's a trained skill. That's a learnt skill. Quoting is a learnt skill. You're not the only person on earth who can quote. That's why we've built these quote checkers for you. We've got the mini quote checker and the quote checker, so you can test, measure, and work out the rhyme or reason to why you landed at a certain number. So my big encouragement is, reflecting on you moving in the office. Are you moving well? Are you moving with rhyme or reason? Are you moving with intention? Or are we getting stuck at the same point every time? And we know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result. So what can you do in your office admin schedule? Is it allow a bit of space at the start of the day? Is it to be like, no, I'm not leaving site. I'm not leaving to go to site on these 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Is it I'm going to set myself times against my tasks? So that's a 2-hour quote. I'll allow 2.5 hours in. So many 2-hour quotes you see, and you're like. Why did that take me 4 hours? Because I didn't have a correct window. You would never allow your tradie or apprentice to go to site and be like, just take as long as it wants. It doesn't matter if you had a time allowance against it. If you had a 3 hours against it, you would let them know, I've got 3 hours against this. How do you reckon it's going to go? I reckon pretty good. Cool. Let's do it. My other encouragement is to really, I think I said this in the last one, I can't remember if I said it this one, whatever, but like really set your start time and your finish time and build that, and stop when that stops. I know it seems counterintuitive because you're like, I've always got work to do, and that's the situation, right? Like, if I gave you 7 till 7 or 7 a.m. till 10 p.m., you'd probably be like, I'm going to fill that. I'll fill that cup. I'll fill that gap. I'll fill that schedule. But if you limit yourself to the desired hours you want to work, and you're like, so you go, okay, cool, I'll do it, be as productive as I can there. If I go outside those lines, if I blur the lines Robin Thicke style, right? Blurred lines, I know your schedule, it's gotta get good, right? If you blur in the lines consistently, now you know I might need to hire in this point. Now, reflect on this. You need an overflow at some point. So my question is to you, if you miss your day or days or time in the office, where does it go to, right? Where does it go to? Where does it go to? It's got to go somewhere. Does it go, are you like, my overflow is Wednesday morning from 5 to 8? Mornings are my like, I would never personally get up at 4 o'clock and do some work, although many people would. But so night times, we've got a way more chance of me doing something at night time from 8 till 9 or 8 till 10 or post kids go down at that point. But where is your overflow time? And when do you need to, in case of emergency, break glass with this thing? And okay, so I missed my Wednesday, then that's going to cost me Wednesday night. And does your partner go into this place as well? So if you watch how I move, you mistake me for a player or a pimp. Move well in the office. Also, encouragement here, how is your admin team going? Are they moving well? Are they moving with rhyme? Are they moving with reason? Are they moving with purpose? If your wife or husband is on the admin team, I'm not against that. It works, not in every case, but in some cases. My big questions are asking yourself the following questions. Does it work? That's a big question to ask yourself. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But you got to reflect in honestly. So many people's partners are doing stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know if you should be paying for that. So it's, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what she's doing back there. Ma, the meatloaf, we want it now. So it's like, if it's working, great. But if it's not working, cut it. It doesn't have to work. It might be too close to home legitimately, right? Legit too close to home. I'm also a big believer that you have to have your start and stop times for talking about work, because there's no end to talking about Jimmy. That's your tradie. Jimmy, run to the chopper. That's Billy, but you get the choice. Get to the chopper, Schwarzenegger style, Predator style, right? And then so there's no end to talking about your staff members that aren't performing. There's no end to talking about that job you misquoted. There's no end to talking about that late payment. So it's like, if you are working together, I'll be like, okay, from 5:30, 6 o'clock, we're just not going to talk about work, because it's counterproductive. It's going to be so overwhelming. Unless I'm talking specifically about what I'm excited about and goals, even that, like lofty goals are fantastic, but once they're set, just achieve it. It doesn't have to be talked about every single night, right? So it's like, what time will you stop talking about work, because you still need to foster a relationship outside of that? And it's like, and what is the plan? Because my biggest concern sometimes with partners is, if your little Timmy or little Susie is sick, little kids are sick, then it's still got to get done. So if sometimes you see the partners be so graceful, like, it's okay, I know, baby, I'm sorry, baby, you didn't get that done because you had to look after Timmy, and that's cool. You got to be gracious and understanding. I get that, but on the other hand, the job's still got to get done. So who does that job fall to if it doesn't get done? If it's not getting done once or twice, we'll deal with that. But if it's not getting done 8, 10, 12 times in a row, now we've got to have a big conversation. And there's got to be that respect of that business owner talking to a staff member that's like, hey, I need this done, okay? And there's also, so there can't be, you can't blur the lines personally and professionally and be like, you never do stuff like this, you never do stuff like this, and vice versa. No employee that's paid to do a job can't turn around and be like, I didn't get that done, whatever. Like, you just have to deal with it. So there's got to be the mutual respect. You've got to speak to each other with respect, and speak to each other with love, and speak to each other and treat it like the relationship it is. It's a working relationship where there's KPIs on both sides, and both sides have a requirement to do their job, basically. The boss to treat well and to educate and to train, and the staff member to perform X, Y, Z. Here's what it looks like for you to be doing a good job. So, are you moving like a player or a pimp in the office? If not, what are you going to do about it? Like I said, we've got that office playbook, which is a fantastic run through of what the day-to-day office stuff entails, what's going on, who's going to do it, and you need to have something like that to nail it. So move like a player or a pimp. Thanks, 50 Cent. That's episode 3. See you guys back here soon.